our ESG podcast series. I am Rushti Gada, ESG consultant at Lodha & Co. LLP. And joining me today is Ms. Chitranjali Diwari, a sustainability enthusiast and a public policy professional, our speaker for today's podcast series. Welcome, Chitranjali, to the podcast. Our topic for today is why materiality. So, at its core, when I discuss about materiality, it is about what matters the most. So, whether we are discussing financial disclosures in corporate boardrooms, sustainability in any manufacturing industries, or the integrity of the materials in our everyday products, understanding materiality helps us focus on what truly counts. So, in today's episode, we will explore why materiality is a game changer for businesses and the investors also. We'll discuss how companies can identify their material issues, the role of stakeholder engagement in this process, and also the benefits of a materiality focused approach, from reducing risk and uncovering opportunities to enhancing transparency and building trust. Materiality is basically the lens through which companies can create meaningful and lasting values. So, Chitranjali, let's begin with our podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. So, to begin with, my first question would be, what exactly does materiality mean when we talk about businesses and sustainability? It's a concept that seemed to be abstract at first, but it is also crucial for identifying the environmental, social, and governance issues that have most significant impact on a company's performance and stakeholders. So, what is materiality exactly?
Sure, Vishti. So, materiality, by definition, in the environmental, social, and corporate governance, refers to business importance, financial importance, and stakeholder value of specific ESG topics. It's the overall objective of materiality is to develop a successful ESG strategy for any business. Simplifying this, materiality in business refers to the importance of issues or events that could influence the decision making process, particularly the financial decision making process of stakeholders, such as investors, employees, customers, and regulators. But when materiality is combined with sustainability beyond financial implications to include environmental, social, and governance factors, it focuses on the issues that are most critical to both the company's success in the long run and also the impact of the company on the world and the society.
That's
Thank
very
you.
true, Chitranjali. So now, why should companies go through the process of conducting a materiality assessment? Because we all know that the benefits are multifaceted. It not only helps the companies to identify and mitigate risk, but it also positions them as leaders in sustainability. So, can you help us through the process of conducting a materiality assessment?
Sure. So let me first talk about why it is important to conduct the materiality assessment, right? What advantage do companies have against their peers? So, firstly, when you do materiality assessment, when a company does materiality assessment, it helps them prioritize and allocate resources efficiently. So that these efforts and investments are directed towards areas that have the highest impact and value for business. This leads to a more focused strategy that aligns with companies and stakeholders' long-term goals. Secondly, if there is a materiality assessment, it enhances the decision making of the stakeholders. So it provides valuable insights into which ESG factors are most relevant. For example, it helps in identifying the material risks that allows companies to proactively manage challenges in the future and the present, thereby reducing uncertainty and also enhancing the resilience of the business. Thirdly, it is important for reputation management also. So, addressing material ESG issues will demonstrate a company's commitment to sustainability, enhancing its brand loyalty and reputation in the market. Moreover, companies that address and report on material ESG issues can differentiate themselves from their peers in the market and competitors in the market. This will help them attract investors, customers, and employees who value sustainability and ethical practices. And lastly, from the compliance and regulation point of view, a comprehensive materiality assessment will help companies stay compliant with regulatory requirements and reporting standards. So overall, the crux of this is that understanding material issues will uncover new opportunities for the business and will drive innovation for any business to create long-term value for the company. Now, coming to your question, how should companies conduct materiality assessment? What could be the key steps, basically, right? So, conducting materiality assessment involves several key steps and several involvement of several stakeholders. The first and the foremost important step in any assessment, a materiality assessment, is to identify the key stakeholders. Right? So stakeholders can be either internal stakeholders or external, such as employees, subcontractors, board of directors, investors, customers, suppliers, communities, regulators, right? Moreover, nowadays we see companies also including non-traditional stakeholders like environment. So understanding how does a particular decision impact the environment is also a part of identifying the key stakeholder. The second step is to develop a stakeholder engagement methodology. Now, once you've identified who are your key stakeholders for this assessment, you need to explain these stakeholders what you're doing, why is it important, and how their inputs will help in efficiently doing the materiality assessment. So, keeping this entire conversation simple and interesting so that the stakeholders participate throughout this entire process of assessment. And in the initial outreach, the stakeholders should also be provided with an overview of timelines, deliverables, scope, and also highlighting the value they bring in, right? So once the stakeholders are engaged, they are all on the same page and they understand the value of materiality assessment, the next step is to identify the material topics. So existing guidance and resources like the GRI framework or the SASP framework, they could be used to provide industry-specific material topics. Like that could be the starting point to identify the material topics. And then these topics could fall under the categories of E, S, and G, and also economics. And once these topics are identified, a stakeholder survey or questionnaire is designed and then sent across to the identified stakeholders. These surveys, one should make sure they are formal, they are structured, but also they are simple to understand so that the data that is collected from stakeholders is quantifiable. The responses are easy to sort of analyze, and also the questions are very stakeholder specific. So, for example, if I have one of our key stakeholders as, let's say, the operations team, and the other stakeholder I have is the set of investors. Right? So my questions that I'll be sending to both of these stakeholders would be different, but they would be sort of the overall objective of these questions would be the same, that is to identify the material topics. So, and there are a few cases in our practice also. As a sustainability consultant, I come across where certain stakeholders want are more comfortable with interviews rather than just sending out a survey or a questionnaire. So in that case, we also schedule interviews with these stakeholders, could be board members, investors, or any other team within the company, which wants to understand more about the questions, wants us to elaborate on the requirements. So based on the need, we either circulate a survey or we schedule interviews, but the objective is to collect data, to collect responses from customers. And once the data is collected, the fifth step is to analyze this data. right? So using this data, we prioritize the ESG topics based on their significance and impact on the company and on the stakeholders, which results into a materiality matrix, which is very common in the sustainability domain. So the results of this survey are then plotted on a matrix, which is called the materiality matrix, to visualize and prioritize the most critical issues. And a very important part here, which could be, some people think of it as outside materiality assessment, but I think it's very important to do within this entire process, is to do a gap analysis. So, because you don't get this opportunity of having such a diverse and yet comprehensive data from all your stakeholders. So, take this opportunity and do a gap analysis to identify discrepancies between different stakeholders, understand your organizational performance, how can you do better, where you can do better, right? And then once all of this is done, once your topics are identified, the last step and the most important step for which we are doing all of this, exercise, is to integrate this analysis into a strategy. So use these insights gained from assessments to inform and refine your company's ESG strategy, your company's ESG policies, to write reports which will guide strategic decisions and initiatives moving forward.
Okay. So, speaking of the stakeholders, their role in materiality process seems to be very pivotal. So, stakeholders, including employees, customers, and investors and communities, provide invaluable perspective that help companies to understand which issues are more significant to that specific company, to that specific industry. So, what are your thoughts on the same?
Sure. So, like you rightly said, there are diverse stakeholders, right, involved in this entire assessment. So, when you have diverse stakeholders, you have diverse perspectives. So, the role that and the most important role that that stakeholders play is to bring in a variety of viewpoints and perspectives to the materiality assessment process. And their different roles within and outside the company offer a comprehensive understanding of the issues that truly matter to the organization. The second role is to identify key issues. Now, employees, managers, boards, whoever the stakeholder is, have first-hand knowledge of the challenges and opportunities that are there within their roles and the teams, right? So, on the other hand, customers, investors, and community members will highlight or bring a broader societal and environmental perspective to the table, that the company, that the people within the company might overlook or would not have information on. So that is why having people from inside and outside the company as stakeholders is very important to have, to identify the key issues. The third role stakeholders play is to assess the impact. So they play a crucial role in evaluating how ESG issues um, could affect the company's reputations, financial performance, and long-term sustainability of its operations. So their insights help in prioritizing these issues based on the potential impact these will have on the company, and then accordingly work towards strategizing of how to combat these or how to mitigate these risks and take advantage of the opportunity. Stakeholders help in ranking issues according to their significance, which eventually leads to the development of the matrix that I was talking about. And this visual tool will help you in identifying the most critical areas for the company to focus on. And lastly, I think the most important role that stakeholders play is to ensure relevance and transparency. So, continuous engagement with stakeholders throughout this entire process will keep the company updated on evolving priorities, emerging issues, and this transparency will build trust and credibility within the company as well.
That's very true, Chitranjali. Stakeholder role is very important in the materiality assessment. So, the insights gained from a materiality assessment directly inform a company's sustainability strategy and disclosures. Because this integration of materiality into reporting ensures that sustainability is not just a buzzword, but also a core aspect of the company's operation and values. So let's explore how materiality influences sustainability and financial reporting.
Sure. So, materiality is like a guide, like I started this conversation with, right? It's a guide for businesses, for companies, when they make reports. So, it could be sustainability report, financial report, because it helps them focus on the issues that really matter. And that's what the definition of materiality is, right? Things that are material to the company. So, for sustainability reports, it means talking about the most important environmental, social, and governance issues. This makes the report clearer and easier to understand. But in case of financial reporting, it tells the investors that the most important financial aspects so that they can make better decisions. So materiality helps companies make better choices, right? It shows them what's important to customers, what's important to other stakeholders, so that they can spend their time, money, and other resources on things or issues that really matter. And the other big thing is that materiality helps companies follow the rules, the regulations. So when you know that what's important for your business, is it's easier to make sure your reports uh, follow the right guidelines. They follow the right standards. They also it also makes sure that their reports cater to the right set of audience, covers all the points and all the material issues for your organization.
Right, Chitranjali. So that was a very impactful session, I think. And we all want to listen more from you, Chitranjali, on materiality. So stay tuned for our next episode on why materiality. We would continue the conversation with Chitranjali and have some more interesting talk on materiality and its importance. Thank you all for listening. If you want to know more about our research, please visit us at www.lodaco-esgplus.com. You can also write to us on our email esg@lodaco.com. To know more about our insights, follow our LinkedIn page ESG Briefings by Loda & Co LLP. Your insights and perspectives are valuable to us. Thank you.